Hello and welcome to Viranel. We meet here in the heart of the Languedoc on the Saint-Chinian appellation. It's a family estate that I have with my brother today and which has been passed down from generation to generation since 1551. It's starting to get a little bit old. We try to keep on the estate our old vines, which are interesting product signatures, such as this old Alicante, which is 80 years old, one old Carignan, which is 100 years. We also have some old Syrah and a Viognier, which is around 40 years old. Our father was one of the pioneers to plant Viognier in the region, which has allowed us to have elegant and fine wines today.
We are fortunate to be in the heart of the Saint-Chinian appellation, so we are not on an oppressive monoculture, but rather on a multitude of small plots of vines which are scattered in the middle of the scrublands of the olive woods. We no longer use chemical weeding at all. The rows are worked mechanically and manually. Today, we mainly use our own compost of grape pomace that we produce on the farm. Once the vinification is finished, we recover our pomace, which is mainly composed of skins and pips. We compost them for 1 year on the farm in order to reintegrate them into the soil.
We find here rolled pebbles, which is a terroir close to the river, therefore on alluvial soils, which are quite rich and which will allow us to give a lot of fruit and aromatic expression to our cuvée, on which we will work on the varietal side, the expression of the grape variety with Alicante, Viognier and Cabernet, therefore rather a range of friendly wines, discovery, aperitif wines, just pleasure. We have gone up a notch. Here we are on limestone terraces on alkaline soils, which on the other hand will give a lot of acidity and freshness to the wine. So the reds are quite taut with a beautiful expression, more finesse in the tannins, which will allow us to make the intuition range, which exists in red, rosé and white, with quite expressive aromatic profiles of the melted tannins. At the vinification stage, we will macerate longer than on the pebble terroir we have seen previously.
We are here in our winemaking and maturing cellar. This is a cellar that was built at the end of the 19th century, around the 1880s. We work in buildings that are relatively historic and mainly with concrete vats, as you can see here. These are concrete vats which were built at the same time as the building and which have the particularity of having very thick walls and which are also semi-buried, so they have a high thermal inertia in order to avoid too rapid fluctuation in temperature. We also work with more modern materials such as stainless steel, fully equipped with thermoregulation for vinification and conservation and aging, particularly for whites and rosé.
And here we are on the last heights, on the hillock of Cress, which are soils composed of schisto, sandstones, gravel, and therefore with the schist side, which can remind us of the northern part of Saint-Chinian. We are mostly on limestones, but here on schist, these are fairly drainy soils which will force the vines to grow deep down at the roots to draw water and minerals. We are going to have more pronounced concentrations of tannins and structure. This is where we are going to make our finest vintages, the signature range with, among others, the V from Viranel and the 1551 cuvée, which is a tribute to our ancestors. You can see behind me the hilly sides of the Saint-Chinian appellation with the Caroux at the very bottom, which is the last buttress of the Seven, born from the last tectonic movements which made it possible to create this range.